kudos to you. You're going to need to raise capital to do this long term. Okay. Now, you can always go to real estate investment clubs and meetup groups and network with other people there, but those are also going to be real estate investors like yourself. They're sharks, right? We don't want anything less than 12 or 20%, right? You can jump on LinkedIn and connect with asset managers. I'm necessarily not asset managers, but note investors, private investors, real estate investors is a way to raise capital as well. Keywords, LinkedIn groups, and then also looking at profiles. You can jump up on Connected Investor. You can jump on Bigger Pockets. We've got a strategy for Bigger Pockets. It works really, really well. It's like shooting fish in the barrel to raise capital because people on there will literally tell you they got 50 to 100K to invest, but we'll share that with our 3-day workshop. Okay. Okay. We target keywords or 50K to invest, 75K to invest, 100K to invest, and then we send our pitch deck video. We'll talk more about that class. Okay. Self-directed IRA or self-directed trustees holds events. Like there's an IRA conference taking place in Dallas later this year. Check with your local self-directed IRA company. We'll see what they have. They may have networking events, lunch and learns, meetups, all that good stuff are great stuff to go to. I like make it easy. Can I make it easy for you? Should we do this to show you the way, the truth and the light? Finding investors on public records is so simple. It's easy. You just got to follow along on what we teach. Okay. If you use Netra Online, netronline.com, this is going to take you to a main website that's basically taken all the county recorders, county appraisal districts. You go to Netra Online, click on official public records. It pulls up a map of the states. You click on the map, pick the state, and then you pick the county in. And then you go. And then, like I said, this is a free tool, free website to access all county websites. It's phenomenal. Okay. The county appraisal districts, the county clerk, or the recorder's offices. Those are the two most important things. Okay. You're also going to use Netra Online like to check taxes on a property and check who owns it, some other stuff during your due diligence process, but we'll get that later on. What I like is if somebody has used their IRA to either buy a property or lend on a property, you're going to find it at the appraisal district or the county clerk. All right. And you're going to search when you go to, we'll just say the county appraisal district. Now, here's the thing. Let me reiterate this. If you're in California, Arizona, Maryland, Virginia, or Minnesota, you can't go to the county appraisal district and type in a name. Like I would have you, if you're in Texas or any of those other states, you could go and just go to like Bear County or Travis County or Hamilton County, Ohio, pull up the appraisal website and type in Equity Trust or Quest Trust. And it'll pull up a whole list, especially in the appraisal district, of people who have used their IRA to buy a piece of property. You can click on it, you can literally see their name, their mailing address. That's like shooting fish in the barrel to mail out a postcard or a letter to them. And that's one thing we work with in our one-on-one coaching is how to contact these investors to get them to fund with you, to get them to working with you. Because it's literally everybody that has a self-directed IRA is usually pretty smart. They're looking to invest. And guess what? Notes are the ideal passive income, passive investment for people with an IRA. They can't go out, mow the lawn, fix it up. It's got to be passive. And notes are in roughly, I think most IRA companies say somewhere around 30 to 50% of what they have under management is going into notes. There's also about 30% of funds that they have in IRA companies is sitting there making zero. So it's a great way for you to reach out to. Now, if somebody's lent money to another investor, you would go to the county recorder's office. Now, you can search by name in the county recorder's office. Some states you might have to register for it or pay a small fee to search, but it's well worth it to pull a list once or twice that gives you 200, 300 names, who they lent the money to, their address, their mail address that you can reach out to and actually see how much they lent out when it comes to county recorder. Okay. This is easy. So once again, if you go to the county appraisal districts, there's literally 50 different plus self-directed IRA companies, Equity Trust, Penske, Mid-Atlantic, Rocket Dollar, Mountain View. There's a whole bunch of them. Okay. I like in Texas here where I'm at, the two biggest ones that we search that have done probably the best job of marketing is Equity Trust is the biggest, and Quest has probably done another second best. Okay. If you just search for Equity Trust or Quest Trust, it'll pull up Equity Trust for the benefit of Jim, Quest Trust for the benefit of IRA 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. May not give you a name of the investor. That's fine. All you need is to know the name, and then the mailing address needs to be separate from the actual physical address of Quest or Equity Trust. Find the mailing addresses. Some counties will allow you to do hit a button to download the mailing list. It's easy. And then guess what? You send a letter. All right. You can go Google if it gives you the account holder names on there instead of instead of just Equity Trust or just IRA 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Still send it to them. Send it to the mailing address of the property, and just change your investor to Equity Trust or Quest Trust client. Okay. But if it gives you a name, guess what? You can usually go in the county appraisal district, search by that person, that investor's name, and it'll pull up other real estate they own. Easy aspect of things. And then we'll also take it a separate step with our VAs. We'll take those names, actually, when we find a first and last name, and we'll go Google them, jump on white pages, jump on LinkedIn, do a skip trace to find emails and phone numbers of those people. And it's literally an easy way for you to raise capital and raise $1 million in 90 days. And we'll mail out a letter, we'll mail out a postcard, we'll contact on social media. We do a variety of things to do this. We go a lot more in depth on this in day 2 of our 3-day workshop, and we also spend a big chunk of time on this. These are some of the things we'll be talking about with our WC and crew members, or monthly memberships as well, on a weekly basis. Okay, and we share postcards, sample letters, what we do, and getting the word out to people. Now, county clerk, this is the recorder's office. This is where people are filing deeds. You can do a deed search on the recorder's office. And same thing, you search for the company name, it'll pull up either Equity Trust, Quest Trust. You can do both the grantee, grantor, mortgagee, mortgagor search on this stuff here. It should give you a mailing address, cross-reference the mailing address, make sure it's not Equity Trust or Quest mailing address. But I'll tell you how much they lent the borrower. That's the beautiful thing. It'll give you an investor name that they lent the money to, how much they lent. You can also do a release of lien search. And that shows you people who have gotten paid back now have money to search for. Now, one of the things too, ladies and gentlemen, is this is a side track. We talked about a foreclosure list previously, right? If you look at the foreclosure list, a lot of times you'll see Equity Trust or Quest Trust or something like that foreclosing. It's an IRA investor who's foreclosing on a deal that they may have some money to reach out to. And once again, what do? We mail a letter, a postcard, we do a mail merge, we contact them on social media, and then we rinse and repeat. And this is how we've raised millions of dollars, and our students are raising millions of dollars on a regular basis for deal flow. Okay, Cal Ewing just raised 200 grand. John Gore raised 100 grand. Keith Holland raised $4 million. You know, this works. It's much easier than just sending out to people that have an IRA neutral or have a 401k. They may not be real estate investors, may not understand the process. But those people that have a self-directed IRA account with Equity Trust, Quest, Pensco for real estate or note purposes, they understand it. You don't have to educate them. It's a much easier conversation because they're investors just like you. They're looking for deals and we got money to invest. So it's really the perfect trinity for you to reach out to them, to have them potentially fund or partner with you on deals. Okay. Any questions about that before we move on, ladies and gentlemen? Because I know this is one of the most valuable aspects of it. And to be surprised how few people understand or know this. And really, nobody else really teaches this out there. A few places on stuff like that, but most of the other note people, they don't teach this. They don't teach you how to raise capital. They don't teach you how to market. You got to understand that's an important thing in today's world. It's not just about finding deals. You got to be able to fund them and market for them as well. All right. You are not beholden to one guy or one gal sending you notes, and that's it. It's just not a smart thing to be. Okay. Now you can. There are a couple places you can go out and buy custom lists of contacts of asset managers or even IRA owners. Okay. Now, like Melissa Data, Exact Data are 2 sources that we use. You can actually reach out and say, hey, I want to buy a list of IRA owners. Okay. And they'll just give you a generic list. And that's not going to tell you if it's with Scott Trade or Schwab or AG Edwards or like Equity Trust. They're just somebody who has an IRA. Now you can filter it down, say, hey, I want somebody who has at least 150K or more, and then pick the city, state, or county, which is kind of nice. Okay. You can also purchase lists of employees with companies, a little bit like a B2B list. That can be but they'll give you their name, address, email, and phone number a lot of times. Phone number, you're not going to be using that a lot. But the email and the name and the address is a valuable thing. Melissa Data, exactdata.com. You can order customized lists. They usually want the list to be somewhere around $1,000 minimum order. And you're going to pay somewhere between 6 to 14 cents a lead for the residential stuff. If you're buying employee names from a company, it's like 25 cents per lead. So if you're buying $1,000 at around 6 cents, that's like a 16,000 lead. That takes a while for you to upload that to your database. Okay, but it's still about an 8 to 10% open rate and can be faster for you to reach out. But you just got to expect that it's more generic. They don't understand, may not be invested in real estate. They may not be interested in real estate. Okay, so that's one thing. This is why you get a better hit rate. And for $1,000, you can sure as hell send a lot of postcards and letters to IRA investors and raise $1 million in 90 days. Okay. Now, where can you post? Post deals. One of the best things for you to raise capital is to post deals from past experience, fix and flips you've done, note deals you've done, wholesale deals. Post in other places, post deals from others, case studies. One thing we teach all the time, like, listen, people want to see you posting about real estate. They're attracted to people doing something. If you haven't got a lot of experience, guess what? There's plenty of other case studies to talk about. Post deals that you're working on, post deals that you're doing some due diligence on. But when you're talking about note investing and raising capital, never mention safe or guaranteed. Those are two words that will get you in trouble. It's very valuable for you to create a short pitch deck video, we call it. It's like 10-minute long video talking about what your focus is, what you're investing in, the types of deals you're doing, and the advantage, the pros and cons of those deals, okay? Talk about your vendors, talk about your team. This is one of the easiest things to get people to build rapport with you. Go have them watch a 10-minute pitch deck video, make it on your website, or when you're emailing out people or posting or sending out postcards or letters to investors, put a QR code or a link for them to go to watch your pitch video. And it helps you to have a ton of conversations with a lot of people, and those that are interested that take the next step to connect with you, make it easy. Now, qualifying investors is just as important because not everybody is somebody you want to invest with or have them invest with you. You have to ask, are they currently invested in real estate? They are, great. If they're not, or never invested in real estate, not a good fit. Are they accredited or sophisticated? Are they a professional investor? Okay. How much are they looking to invest is one of the questions you've got to have. Now, we've got a whole like 4-step process that we recommend following. There's a video out there that we did on Note Night in America about a 4-step process. Check it out at weclosenotes.tv. But you got to ask that question, really, how much are they looking to invest? How much are they looking to put to work? Because it's a big difference between $5,000 and $50,000. $50,000 you can do something with, $5,000 you can't do anything, okay? How long are they looking to invest? You know, were they looking to invest for a couple of years, they comfortable with that, or are they looking for like 90 days? Are they active or passive? If they're passive, they're looking for a flat rate return. If they're active, they may want a high return because that's what they're in the business of being an investor. What kind of returns are they looking for? If it tells you 20%, then they need to go do it themselves. If they're passive and they want to make 20%, then they're not a fit for you, okay? A passive investor should get somewhere like 6 to 8, maybe 10%, okay? An active investor is probably going to want more, and they may not be a fit for what you're doing. We use an investment questionnaire. We provide that in our 3-day workshop to help you qualify people, help walk through that process, and it's really, really valuable. You got to have an investment questionnaire sometime to help filter through people. Okay, now there are investors you want to avoid. People unfamiliar with real estate, people wanting short-term or real high ROIs that don't make sense. Really, investments below $50,000. When you start off, you're probably going to get some friends and family, stuff like that, to bring $25,000. Okay, that's fine. Put them in a deal. But as you get going, you're going to want to increase that amount, minimum investment to 50 to 100K. It just means you're dealing with more sophisticated people. Pay attention. Do people talk bad about others? They talk bad about politics. They bash everybody. Ask for referrals, okay? If they're in a suit, that's one thing. Have you sued anybody? If they're suit happy, you probably don't want to deal with them. Ask for references, past partners they've worked with or deals they funded, CPA, attorney, banker, stuff like that. That's fine. We'll gladly let you have them review the funding agreements, review the deal flow. The big thing I always like to ask people is, if you're going to ask, if you need to see stuff, is your CPAs, your attorneys, your banker familiar with note investing? If they're not familiar, why would you go ask for counsel or advice from somebody who's not familiar? Okay. And the deal, they're just going to completely botch the whole aspect of it because they don't understand. Oh, no, I shouldn't do that. Well, my banker told me I shouldn't do it. Why? Are they familiar with it? Are they doing real estate? Well, no. Then why are you taking somebody's counsel? I mean, advice is like assholes. Everybody has one. Okay. What you got to realize is you want to seek counsel from somebody who understands investing. And then maybe other note investors, maybe other real estate investors, not just your local CP and account who has or attorney or whatever that may not have any experience in whatsoever. Okay. Always, always, always require investors that you're going to fund with to fill out the investment questionnaire or profile sheet, send you a pledge letter or email, which is basically, hey, Scott, I'm sending along my proof of funds that shows $500,000 in my bank account. I'm pledging 50K or 100K for you for 24 months to do some deals. They won't return these items, ladies and gentlemen. They're not going to fund. Okay. They can talk a good game, but they're not going to return them in a timely process. They're just not going to deal with you. Okay. If the reason you also ask them to fill out these things is figure out where the money's coming from. If it's coming from Schwab or Chase, they're going to have to open up a self-directed IRA account with a self-directed IRA custodian, because Chase is going to let them invest in a note or a property. You got to put that money and roll it over to a equity trust or something like that. They can allow that stuff for it. It takes, if they got money sitting in stocks, bonds, mutual funds, it takes 3 days to trade out of that into cash, and then another day to wire, and then it takes about a week to open up an account. Now, you can open up an account without a big deposit. You can just throw $50 in the account, equity trust, something like that. They're doing a rollover. It can take a couple weeks. So keep in mind where the money's come from and the timing for that. This is important. Okay, have the paperwork created that you're doing the funding agreements created by attorney. I'm glad to allow a CPA or attorneys to review the documents. Always use agreements. It outlines when things go wrong. Never do a handshake funding. Most investors out there can't make 6% or greater right now, still to this day. Okay. If they're not making that right now, don't give them that. Okay. If they're making 1%, 2% in a CD, then give them 4%. You get what I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen? If their money's making 0, 6% is above average return. I mean, the markets and interest rates have changed. Okay. If somebody was making 6%, they probably want to make 8 or 10 now. That's fine. I would not go above 12. And the 12 would only do short term for the most part. Okay. Now, when it comes to making payments to your investors and communication, when we send payments out, we do it quarterly. We avoid monthly payments. It gets too expensive with a wire and too much paper. We do it quarterly basis. We set up an online portal for tracking and help, like Basecamp or Box, something they can have access to. Slack, Keep, Google Sheets, use something. Never pull investors' money together. It's always going to be one investor funding one asset. Now, you can have one investor fund 3 assets and another investor fund another one. That's fine. But never have more than one investor fund one asset. If you did that, you need to go do a private placement and put a fund together for it. Trust your instincts. If somebody gives you the heebie-jeebies or just don't like it, don't fund with them. Don't work with them. It's great to be friends, but if you get somebody who's an asshole or pain in the ass, it will be your worst nightmare. And that's one of the biggest things that I wish I had done, was not have a few folks fund some deals that were paying the asses. Okay. Any questions about funding before we move on to some of the marketing ways to get things done? Okay. Now, we talked about finding deals. We talked about funding deals. One of the things that falls in line to help you fund or find deals is marketing deals. And the note marketing side is very important in the note business. It's a little bit different. You don't have especially when you don't have the MLS to go find deals. It's a different animal, and that's okay. It's a-okay. The great thing is if you're willing to do things that others aren't, you're going to find better deals and be more profitable. Okay. And marketing is one of those things that will set you apart from the crowd. And remember, 80% of sales are made after the 5th contact. Keep that in mind. Expect to post and market regularly and often. You can automate your postings to socials through buffer.com or Hootsuite. I prefer Buffer. Hootsuite's got a little bit more expensive these days, but these are 2 websites that if you go in and post your things on there, you can actually pick and pre-post what gets sent out to social media posts and your profiles. There are 3 of the most important things to use in today's 21st century 24 marketing. And that is email. You got to have an email CRM. I prefer Keep.com is who we use. Set up landing pages and calendar links, all that stuff in one place. See who's opened your email, send a custom lists, all that good stuff. Number 2 is LinkedIn. You got to have a LinkedIn account, and you can use octopuscrm.io to help you with it, growing your database, growing your audience on there by automating your reach out and connections and stuff like that. It's so well worth it. Okay. It helped us grow from 6,000 to 30,000 connections in a few years. Okay. C, video marketing. YouTube at the minimum. You, of course, can use video, what you use on YouTube, across all the other social media platforms. They all want you to use video too anyway. And by video marketing, we're not talking like you have to do like hour-long, 2-hour-long conference calls. You could do like what Cal is doing and doing like a note deal of the week. He's like doing a 30-minute webinar and uploading it to YouTube and other places. You could pull out your phone and do short little videos, walk around properties you're rehabbing or properties you've flipped. Just get in the habit of sharing some content, the note term of the day or the deal of the day or what you're working on. Part of why we're so successful is because we embrace video. All right. Embraced it and started using it a little bit each day. Goes a long way. Plus, it's 24-hour a day, 365-day a week advertising for your business. And it's free. It doesn't cost you anything to upload video. It just takes a little time. And if you go and look at other people, you just have to make it a priority to do every day. And that's one of the things I try to do, is make sure we post something on a daily basis to attract buyers, sellers, and funding sources, because everybody is a buyer, seller, or funding source. Okay. I've had people this morning alone who came from a video we posted on LinkedIn or posted TikTok or YouTube. All right. Most of you have been following me that are watching this and follow me for a few months or a few years in some cases, for those of you out there. Probably came across a podcast or a video to do it. And we're not talking, you got to be creative. Just start sharing some things. It will go a long way and you will get better at what you do. Now, email marketing, it's a number 1% ROI for marketing. Seriously, you get a $44 return on every dollar you spend. That's why it's a 4,400% return. Okay. Now, remember, we talked about this. You can use Keep, Aweber, MailChimp's okay. There's other platforms out there, but you're going to at least use email in your business to market out to bankers and investors, your warm list of people. And you're probably going to send emails out Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I like sending an email out to my warm market on Sunday nights too, to get people to pay attention to what we have going on that week. You're going to email at least once a week out to your investor database, at least once a week. Okay. Not once a month, once a week at least. Okay. Now, what do I talk about? I talk about a variety of things you can do when you're starting off. You talk about happy holidays, because it's all, every month has a holiday in it. If your database is more local, you could say, hey, I'm going out to the local meetup group or a networking event or conference. You can talk about a personal event. Hey, I'm going out, my son won the wrestling competition, or we went out and went on a holiday somewhere. We shared. The idea is your posting is literally building rapport with people long-term. They get to know you and follow you. And then the last but not least, because there's 4 weeks in every month roughly, post about something, a past deal or a current deal. People love to see case studies of what you're working on. It gives something to talk about. And it ain't gonna be anything fancy. It could be a short, really less than 20 lines in your email that goes out. Hey, what are you working on? Here's what we got going on this week. Okay, something like that. You're going to email asset managers, like I said, once or twice a month too, to get the ball rolling on that. So email marketing is one of the most important things. And you can start off pretty cheap. We're spending $700, $800 to $1,000 in email marketing per month, because it is such a big thing that drives us for finding asset managers and connecting the dots with not only our education side, but also our deal flow side. Okay. LinkedIn, you got to learn to leverage this. If you're not spending time on LinkedIn, you're in the dark ages. And most of you are in the dark ages. Most of you are like cavemen when it comes to where you're at in social. Every one of you. Okay. For the most part. A few of you aren't. But the first thing you need to do is go complete your profile and spend 100%, and make sure it's complete 100%. That means filling in, putting in photos for your smiling face, your header images with your LLCs, that kind of stuff. It's literally your social media business resume. Now, people ask me all the time, well, Scott, I do something else. Do I need to start a separate LinkedIn profile? No, you don't need to start a separate profile. If you're worried about your boss or HR, guess what? Go block them. Okay. Now, if your job is providing 401k and benefits, and you usually need to file out an outside business agreement, an OBA in a lot of cases, then you may not be able to talk about enough. Maybe just talk about your hobby, but go put something on your profile that, hey, I'm also an active real estate investor as a hobbyist. Okay. Banks, asset managers realize that a lot of investors are part-time. That's okay. So put that below, but just say something about you being a real estate investor as well. Okay. It's easy to find investors, bankers, other real estate investors, note funders on LinkedIn. Like I said, octopuscrm.io for 21 bucks a month. It can help you automate to connect with 20 to 100 people per day. The right type of connections, okay? Only 3% of LinkedIn users post daily. So post there on a daily basis, a photo, an article. One of the things that we've been doing is sharing little articles with our WC and crew members so they can share that to their network. Help prime the pump to get people start paying attention in a variety of different articles. What's great about LinkedIn, all these social media platforms have a algorithm, right? Like really probably less than 1% of your Facebook connections see your stuff, maybe 5% of the most. LinkedIn's better, probably closer to about 10%, 15%. Because here's what I would say. We started a LinkedIn newsletter over a year ago, and we quickly got to about 4,000 subscribers. Well, if I've got 30,000 connections on LinkedIn, and we've got roughly 4,500 to just under 5,000 subscribers, that's about 15%. So I'll take that. It's a great way to connect with people and get in their inbox as well, okay? Join and post a group, start a newsletter. LinkedIn will allow you to upload some lists, like up to 500 or 1,000 people, emails, and they'll go out and see if those people have a LinkedIn profile and connect with you, okay? Video marketing, I know this is what most people are going to avoid, but you've got to realize if you're sharing to YouTube, it's the second largest search engine, and it prioritizes video first. Then it's owned by Google, right? So Google prioritizes video than just ads, okay? We use TubeBuddy to help us grow. Short videos do well, minute, 2 minutes. If you do a video, a longer form video, 10 minutes do well because now YouTube can post 2 ads in there, and they like to prioritize that versus something that's less than 10 minutes. We got a lot of long form videos, content, webinars, stuff like that. But it literally, part about having YouTube is making sure you got a good description, and then also utilizing keywords, but also using keywords for your channel. And if you've got a Gmail account, guess what? You've got a YouTube account, okay? Facebook Live's okay, or posting videos to Facebook. It's only going to give you like a 24 to maybe a 40-hour lifespan because there's so much being posted there, it gets buried down. People don't necessarily go to Facebook to watch videos, okay? LinkedIn Live, that's another feature. It works really well with short videos, longer form video too. LinkedIn's really prioritizing that. And like I say, a lot of what we do, especially our short form video, we use the phone. This is a good video camera and a good mic. It's literally just kind of doing a selfie. The video I posted this morning across social media, I literally just flipped it around, hit record, and shared, hey, I got a class, you want to join us or something like that. Short videos may get 40 to a couple hundred views on YouTube. It depends. We had some that have gotten multiple thousand views on different platforms. The idea is everywhere you post, it's like fishing, okay? If you just post one thing, it's like fishing once in a while. But if I come next to you and I'm trying to catch the same fish, who's going to have better luck? The guy with one line in the water, or get somebody casting a net that covers 50 places or 40 places or even 5 spaces? If I'm doing it in 5 places, you're doing it just once, I've got a 5 times greater chance of landing an investor or landing a deal. Okay? You can't do business as you used to do back in the 2020s. You can't do it like some of you are doing it like back in the 1980s still, or 1990s. Scott's here trying to beam you up, and I'm giving her all she's got, Captain, to help you come into the new year. And it's gotten so much easier. I mean, you can hire a VA, a virtual assistant, to do most of this stuff for you to get rock and roll and help you do some stuff. Now, we believe in something called the marketing octagon or the content spider, where you create something and you share it across multiple platforms. Photos, videos, stories do best when you share, especially as an investor. We use Buffer to share it and post it at the correct times across multiple platforms. All I have to do is upload it once, schedule it, and then it goes out when we want it to. If I'm at work or traveling, it goes up. Not everyone is on every platform. That's why you post to multiple platforms, okay? Cross promotion is like that casting net. You're getting more hits, and you're multiple algorithms against each other or with each other to help you maximize your engagement. The best time to post things are usually at lunch, 3 p.m., 7 p.m., or 9 p.m. later in the day, because people are on their phones killing some time in between commercials or sitting there waiting. Okay. And here's the thing. Start with one new thing each week. Start something, start posting to Twitter, start posting YouTube. You're not going to see immediate impact, but if you post and stick to it over time, It will help you. Because here's the thing, you're going to be an investor for a long time. Can we agree to that? If you don't change and don't adapt, guess what? You're getting to get run over by those that are adapting and changing and applying these techniques to their business. And that's what really separates successful investors from those that are having to go back to work or do something. It's the same thing in like real estate or the realtors or mortgage brokers. Those that were doing business as normal, they're leaving the business to find a job. Those that understand and embrace marketing, they have multiple ways of generating income, deal flow, leads, because they've embraced marketing and are using these tools to feed them deal flow. Got to do something different, ladies and gentlemen. Got to do something different. All right. Any questions about that before we move on, ladies and gentlemen? Let's do this. Let's just take a quick 5-minute break. I'll get up, get some more water, and come on back at 25 past the hour. All right. Cool. Boom bop, boom boom bop. Did it wow wow. All righty then. Any questions, comments so far from you guys? All right, let's move on. All right. So people often ask me too, Scott, what do we need to buy notes? Do we have to have an LLC? Can we fund in our IRA? Yes, we'll go through that right now with your business structuring. All right. So how do you structure your note business? Now, the easiest way to do it is you need to use some sort of entity. I prefer a limited liability corporation. You don't need an S corp or a C corp right off the bat. You can use a trust, but here's the thing: you might as well use an LLC. An LLC is going to be easier for you. Yes, you can create trust with a piece of paper. I get it. I understand that aspect of stuff, but LLCs are going to be the best for the note business. Okay. Now, you don't need to have one LLC for every note. I would have one LLC for every commercial note you have. All right. And keep that separate. But when you're buying notes, especially residential notes, I wouldn't keep more than $1 million in value in one LLC. Okay. And people ask, well, I've got an LLC that I use my fix and flip business or my rental business or my hair salon or whatever it is. Can I use that? Yeah, you can. But I think it's best for you to keep the things separate. You don't want something bad happen, like if a bar sues you, you make it, you screw up doing a fair debt, or when you're starting off, you want to be safer, and it's always best to keep your assets separate. All right, that's why we say that. Especially if you've got individual investors brings money to the table, you got more than 250K, put them in a separate entity just for those deals. And same thing, if you're taking assets back and you're buying your own funds, you want to keep those deals in your own LLC separate from the people that you're funding deals with. You want to keep your rental properties in a separate LLC than your note deals. If you have an education or marketing, keep that separate. You've got a separate management company. You want to set up these businesses so that they run independently of each other. They can work with each other, but if you don't want something bad to happen, like if a person slips and falls or property catches fire, you don't want somebody going back and suing your LLC and losing everything in an LLC. Okay, it's important to do that. Now, can't I just use my self-directed IRA to buy? Yeah, you can just do that, but it's not smart to fund in your own name or IRA. Why? Because you're gonna have people like me reaching out to you to fund deals. Now, that's okay if you're happy doing that and you want to put that money to work. That's totally fine. I would, though, for asset protection and dealing with the Consumer Finance Protection Bureau, I would put the stuff in an LLC or create you a self-directed IRA LLC. Some counties, like Wayne County, Michigan, are suing self-directed IRA trustees because they're not getting paid their taxes. It's like Quest, Equitrust, they won't let you fund a deal in their name. You've got to fund it in your IRA, your LLC, because they don't want to get charged for lack of back taxes. Okay. If you're funding or doing a joint venture partnership with something like that, use an LLC. Don't use your IRA and that stuff, especially if you're the one partner with somebody. Now, if you're funding the thing, it's okay to just funding with it, and depending on how you want to structure it, securitize your loan. Okay. Checkbook access in a self-directed IRA is great. It costs you a little money to set that up. It can be worth it because you have fast access, but you got to be careful and making sure that you're not using that money to go out and like just buy lunch or do something. Make sure it's a qualified expense for the LLC or the IRA. Trust, some people do that. I just don't think, oh yeah, I can assign beneficial interest to the trust. Yeah, just use an LLC. Come on, man. Let's be smart. Let's not cut corners here. Because you got to document when you have an LLC. It's just not a trip to the Secretary of State and setting up a tax ID number. You got to start documenting transactions, your monthly minutes, contracts, joint venture fund agreements, offices, vendors, partnership, reimbursements, leases. There's a variety of other decisions. Have you ever seen Aaron Young? And this is where you want to watch the asset protection masterclass that we put on with Aaron Young. He goes through some of the things. It's a 2-hour video. It's well worth you watching it to understand all the things you need to do to keep your LLC up to date. That's who we recommend is Laughlin Associates. 50 years of creating, keeping LLCs up to date. They help with asset protection and structuring. They have a corporate veil protection plan. If you're doing what they say, they'll help you if you are audited or anything like that. They'll call you monthly to track things and help you document stuff. They've got asset protection plans. They got a whole team of people to help you, not just your LLC, but your whole asset protection strategy with attorneys and accountants, stuff like that. They have a biannual event called Magnify Your Wealth Summit that if you're a Scott Carson client or student, you get a discount to. So you can check it out. The video of what they talk about when it comes to how they help with corporate veil protection. Go to bit.ly corporate veil protection, or sign up for it at corpveilprotection.com. Or you can sign up for the event that they have in, I think it's San Diego now, at magnifyyourwealth.com. Okay? But it's important. Asset protection, create your LLCs. Keeping that stuff separate is one of the most important things for you to do. All right, so session 10 here is be about exit strategies. And part of that, there's a variety of different ways to make money. This is all about, I bought something. What the hell do I do with it now? Okay, how do I make money on this note that I bought? I bought a property. I know I can rent it. I can owner finance it. I can sell it, right? I know I turn it into a Airbnb or whatever. I can make money that way, right? What can I do with a note? Well, here's the strategies. Let's dive into it. There's a variety of exit strategies. And I always say there's 10 ways to skin a note. No cat. Meow. 10 ways to skin a note. Now, there is a longer video on this, and I encourage you to go watch that. You didn't know you're going to get like another 10 to 15 hours of education on some of these other videos, but it's included with the note weekend for you so that you can go watch this stuff at your leisure as you want to and go from there, okay? But the exit strategy video is longer. It's about an hour long video on that stuff to go through. But first thing, if you're a note investor and you understand wholesaling a piece of real estate, guess what? You can wholesale a note. You can flip contracts. You can do that all day long if you want to do that. I think that's the least amount of money you're going to make. Wholesalers, a good wholesaler understands the asset, understands the profitability and the options and why it's a good deal. Unfortunately, most wholesalers just get in there just throwing shit against the wall. Get against the wall, see what will stick. They're not doing any due diligence. They're not taking a deeper dive. They're just trying to get anything to work. That's not what you do as a wholesaler. Wholesale, you have to understand. Actually put it under contract in your LLC or your name and then flip the contract, okay? And you can charge $500 plus as a flat fee. You can do a percentage in a point basis, like 1 to 3% points. If you're flipping a performing note, 1% is pretty normal. Non-performing can be 2 to 3 points, depending on the percentage. You can do, if you don't know the buyer, haven't done deals with the buyer, don't trust them, do a double closing, where it's 2 contracts, your contract from the seller to you, and then you create the same contract from you to your buyer with different dates and different amounts, so they can't go behind your back. If you know the seller, know the buyer of it, and you're friends with them, you could just just sign a fee agreement and have them wire you your commission when you close. Okay, you can use a real estate attorney and have them create an escrow account for like $500 where money comes wired in, then you're wiring the money out. And I can't harp on this. If you're a wholesaler, you're going to make the least amount of money, and all the work you're going to put into finding buyers, you might as well tweak it and to have them and create and find funders for you, and you buy the note and keep it in your own portfolio. Now, do I flip notes? Yes, we'll flip notes from time to time. We'll get stuff under contract and we'll flip it for a fee. On stuff that we don't want to buy, we buy in bulk. We've done that, okay? What you have to realize, too, is the more you look at and more you're buying for your own portfolio or investment, you're going to make more money and you're going to be a better investor. All right? And you're being this long term. If you're just flipping and you're doing this part-time, you're not going to be an effective wholesaler when it comes to it. Now, 2, if you're buying a note, the first thing your servicing company is going to try to do is they're going to try to reach out and get the borrower to start paying on time. And they start reperforming and paying on time. It may be, maybe you need to give them a little bit of a payment plan. We'll talk about that later on, but you need a licensed servicer to do this. You don't need to be reaching out to the borrowers, like I said, because some states require to be a licensed debt collector. Your servicer is going to do that, collection of payments, do the borrower outreach for right party contact. That's what RPC stands for, is right party contact. You instruct a servicer. All right. If you wanted to start making payments or pay a little bit extra, get caught back up, or what kind of plans you're willing to work out. We'll get that later on. Okay. You could do a loan forbearance agreement, like a lot of people did during COVID, where they just put the year or two they're behind and put on the face amount loan if they could start paying on time. But that's the first thing besides wholesaling is, can we get them to start paying? Second thing, really a third strategy besides wholesaling, would be, do we need to do some sort of modification or trial payment plan? Now, trial payment plan is what we're going to do for 12 months before we do a loan modification. When you modify the loan, that's changing the terms of the deal. Now, you don't need an RMLO to modify a loan. You don't have to have them requalify. All right. This is why we buy existing loans, because they were already Dodd-Frank compliant and they were good paper then. It's still good paper. You can still adjust some things because the borrower is going to sign off on the modification. Okay. We do a trial payment plan, which will be 6 to 12 months of them making their existing payment and some extra payments. We may entice them. So if they pay for every $100 extra you pay, we'll forgive $100. Okay. Usually do these over 6 to 12 months. And the borrower's got to follow through on what they have to do for 6 to 12 months before we'll do any type of loan forgiveness. Okay. You can adjust the balance, forgive, reduce back payments, just the payment schedule. If you go straight to a loan modification, it's going to be a short-term capital gain because the IRS is going to want to tax you on the modified amount. Well, if you don't get the modified amount in any type of thing, you're paying tax on something you haven't received yet. It's stupid. But also doing a loan modification restarts the default time frame. So if you modify the loan, now the clock starts over. They could be late again. This is why we wanted to pay 6 to 12 months. They're only like 90 days, 120 days behind. Don't do a modification. Just make your existing payment and pay a third extra to get back on track, or a fourth extra to get back on track by 4 months. Simple. Okay. The borrowers are going to need to sign on a trial payment plan, a loan file modification. Your servicer or attorney will create those. When we buy a portfolio of notes, we know kind of after our due diligence and looking at things, what route we want to go with a borrower. Can they do this, this, or this? Okay, so here's A, B, or C. We'll send that to the servicing company once we close and fund, and it'll take them 2 weeks to a month to make right party contact with the borrower the first time because they got to wait for servicing to be transferred anyway. But the servicer works for you, and that kind of helps us speed up the aspect. Okay. Number 4 is the seller pays you off. They come to the table and they pay off the loan. All right. You could agree to do like a settlement, a reduced settlement payoff. You can do a payment plan. Maybe they pay off the loan for 90 days and 3 lump sums. Here's the thing. If the existing lender has been reporting these late pays to credit, you don't have to report them to credit. But if they have, guess what? They're not going to go out and get a note. You have to tell them on the phone, like, this has been reported to your credit. This is a personal loan. You're not going to be able to get a loan. Now, if you got cash or relatives, if it's your primary residence, you're not going to be able to go get a hard money loan. Okay, no hard money loans to give it because they don't want you to file bankruptcy, drag it all out. So it's going to be cash, cash out their 401k or other things. Okay, if it's an investment property, now they might be able to go get a DSCR loan or go get a hard money loan for the investment property. There's also some government programs out there that they'll pay money towards the rearage and some stuff like that. Same thing when you're asking people, ask the servicer to ask, and the servicer should ask them, what do you have as far as financials? Now, here's the thing. I don't want to send out a financial document. I'm not going to send it out, mail it out to them, and it takes 2 weeks for that, 2 weeks to get back to me, or they may not get back to me. I want the servicer to collect this information on the phone. Just give me rough balls of what it is. You can send me a scan copy of your retirement account so you know where you're at. They won't send any of that stuff. They're not gonna tell you on the phone. You can come up with a rough what they can afford, what they can't afford on the phone. It doesn't need to take a month to get financials in. Okay, can you start making payments? Can you pay a little bit extra? Great. Can you bring some money to the table? Yes or no? These are all 3 questions that can be answered pretty fast. If you can't do that to get back on track, then we need to look at either can you pay me off, or do we need to sell it off? Okay. Do you have somebody that can make takeover payments? Do a loan assumption is another way that you can make money, get the borrower back on track. Yes, you can allow someone to take over payments. I mean, I could let somebody assume my loan or take over the property subject to if I'm behind in something, family member, friend, maybe a potential investor to take it over. We have them fill out a 1003 or loan qualification form just to make sure that they can make the payments. You're not refinancing the loan. Okay, it's the same terms, so there's no MLO required. Same terms as before. We're not modifying the loan. Okay. If you want better terms, and guess what? Refinance is out. Okay. We're not forgiven. If you're going to take it over, you get the existing stuff. Okay. The borrower can quit claim it to the note payer and get rock and roll. Okay. Now, they don't have somebody to take it over, can't pay us off the loan, then we can agree to do a short sale. Okay. This is where the borrower, with the approval of the bank, sells the property at an amount below the payoff, or that's where the short is. Okay. So I, the bank, have to approve the short. Okay. Now, there's some things about that. If a borrower can make payments and it's in a market that can move some stuff, we can't agree to a short sale. Let's say they owe 120 and the house only worth 100. Okay. Well, we tell the borrowers, okay, can't make payments, can't get back on track. Let's just, your husband's moved on or your wife's moved on. You can't afford the house themselves. We'll let you sell the property. Let's try to sell the property. So you've got, 30 days to try to get something under contract. Okay. And we'll tell you, like, have the realtor listed at 85% of fair market value. So in our situation, they owed 120, the house is only worth 100. So I tell them to list it at 85, provided I bought the note less than 85 substantially, right? Okay. Because I got to make money between the payoff. Now, the reason we listed at 85% of fair market value is so it's a multiple offer situation. You got to put some equity to get people enticed. If you just say pull price at full 100 and they see third party approval required, nobody's going to come and walk at it because they don't want to wait 30, 60, 90 days to get approval from a bank for another 30-day payoff. We're the fastest short sale negotiation company in the world because we can have an answer in less than 24 hours, 4 hours sometimes. And the idea here is that the reason we listed 85%, so it's a multiple offer situation, we're actually accepting less of a short because people will bid it up. Okay, so the 80, 85,000, 90, 95. Okay, we're forgiving 25 versus 35. Okay. Here's the thing. If there's no booking or showing appointments within a 2-week period, we know it's going to go more of a deed in lieu. That's the next step. We also do not let the realtor book appointments around the schedule of the borrower. The house has got to be available at any given time. All right. Not at 1 hour at night, not when the borrower is home. No. It's got to be available at any time. If they want to agree to that, then we're going to go to either deed in lieu or foreclose. Okay. We're also going to ask both realtors to reduce their commissions to 4% because if we're going to bleed, everybody's going to bleed. Okay. If there's no showings in 2 weeks, like I said, nobody's coming in looking at even at 85%, then it makes sense just to go ahead and do a deed in lieu, cash for keys, and move on. We'll give you $5,000 to walk, deed the property. And this is, of course, if there's no other liens on the property that we can't wipe out. If there are liens on the property, then we do a consent for judgment, and we'll go to the foreclosure. Okay. Now I could 1099 the borrower for the short to write off my taxes, a nice tax write-off for us. But it's also incentive, like, listen, getting the borrower to play ball with us. They can, if they're what do we call it? What's the word? If they have more going out than what they have coming in, insolvent, we send a 1099, they can just file I think it's an IRS form 928 to show that they're insolvent and they don't have to pay taxes on that money. But it's a write-off for us. It's one of the key features, key tax benefits of forgiving debt or letting people walk is to write off what they didn't get paid. Okay. And like I said, we're the bank. We can approve it. They can close in 30 days. We'll take a short off of what's owed, but we're still going to make money. If we bought that note, they owe 120, it's worth 100. Probably bought it at 50. If we can sell it at 85, 90, we're probably going to net somewhere around 30, 35,000 for closing costs, stuff like that. That's still a good day for us. It's still a really good return. Okay. But if they can't do that, then we'll do a deed in lieu, cash for keys, or if they've already moved out of the property, sign the property over to us. We'll let the borrower walk scot-free, basically. They'll deed the property back to us. The big thing about this, we're going to make sure we need to get interior access. We need to look at the condition of the property. Is it in good shape? All right. Is it clean? We're not, if it's trashed out, guess what? We're going to foreclose and go after them for it. Okay. Simply, they need to get stuff out. They need to leave. They move out of the property. We'll forgive them the debt. They'll do a deed in lieu, cash for keys, and not go after foreclosure for them. And it starts anywhere from 500 to 1,000, and it's to expedite taking the property back. So if it's like, I'll give you an example. We bought stuff in Florida. Instead of going through a year-long plus process to foreclose, we'll give you $5,000 to walk because that's what's going to cost us roughly. I mean, we've done up to $10,000 before because we bought notes that had a ton of equity, It just made sense. We had another one we were offered $5,000, but the lady owed $4,000 in back taxes, so we only gave her $1,000. She was happy with that. Okay. House has got to be clean swept. It's not going to be perfect. We're not asking them to paint and carpet. I mean, we've had some of that, but it avoids a foreclosure on the credit. That's a very big thing because if it forecloses, that's 7 years on the credit versus late pays being just 2 years. Okay. Always got to check the credit. I mean, always got to check the title. What other liens are out there? Liens are, can you get paid? Can you get them removed? Can you reduce? There's different things out there. If there are liens like a second mortgage, then you would do a consent to judgment or a cash for consent. And that's to show the judge that you're foreclosing on the, hey, borrowers agreed to this judgment. Let's foreclose and wipe out the second and expedites that. Okay. Always take full title and always take internal photos. Call your agent in that neck of the woods to go out there, meet the borrower, to collect the keys or take photos, see what kind of surprises you have inside. Now, here's the thing. If you got to foreclose, you take a consent to judgment, the reason you're seeing a realtor out there is to get the keys, but also see what kind of condition it's in. What kind of repairs can you do while you're going through the foreclosure process? There's been times borrowers have given us the keys and walked, and while we were finishing the foreclosure process, we cleaned the property up a little bit, right? And depending on the situation, sometimes we'll do that. Sometimes we won't. If it's in pretty good condition, we won't. If we're planning to sell at the auction, we're at a price where we can move it at auction pretty good, we'll leave it be. But if we know we're going to end up taking it back and we know we can get a better bang for a buck, and we might fix it up, we might not. It just varies. Okay. If you're buying a note and you're not happy with the borrower is playing tricks or games, dragging stuff out, you could always sell the asset to another investor. Okay. With you working through that deal, whether it's 3 months or 6 months, and you've had a servicer on there, or had the servicer talking, or have your attorney start the foreclosure, you've added value in knowing which way the exit will go. We'll sell assets off that are in longer foreclosure timeframe states where there's trouble borrower, where somebody local can have it. Many funds, here's a great thing. A lot of these funds that are buying portfolios of distressed debt, their goal in the first 90 days is when they buy a portfolio non-performing is to reach out to the borrowers in the first 90 days. Remember, it's going to take 2 weeks to 30 days for servicing transfer to take place. And they're going to immediately start reaching out to these borrowers and say, listen, you want to modify, start paying, let's work to get you back on track. Beyond 90 days, they don't necessarily want to go through the foreclosure process. They'll look to start selling those assets off at a 10 to 15% markup, so they're making a decent annualized return, still leaving some meat in the bone. Okay, if they get a 10% return above their purchase price to do that in 90 days, that's like a 40% annualized return for them. It's a good thing. And we'll do this sometimes, sell to local investors. We'll market via local meetup groups, real estate clubs, LinkedIn. Hey, Georgia real estate investors, or hey, Florida, we've got a deal for you. Okay. There's a handyman special, as Ron LeGrand's known, famous for doing that. And sometimes we've done that before. But we'll also reach out to investor-friendly realtors who have investors in their pocket, and it could be a potential deal for them to take off our hands as well. Number 9, we don't like to do this, but we still end up doing about 25% of the time. It's foreclosing. Remember, we talked about a non-judicial foreclosure is going to be faster, cheaper, about $1,000 to foreclose. A judicial foreclosure, got to go through the judicial process of that state, and that varies anywhere from 6 months to a couple of years. And it's be anywhere from an average, minimum $2,500, if not usually be about $5,000 or more. You'll take it to the foreclosure auction. You control the bid at the auction. Okay, so you tell the attorney or your crier on the county steps of what you want to accept. Now, they're usually going to start it at $0 or $100 and work their way up. But if it gets to you tell them we're happy at 80 and it gets bid up beyond 980, just to agree, not bid it up anymore. Okay. And we've used foreclosure auctions to bid up assets, to sell it at the auction. If it's an asset we knew we could take back, if we wanted to own an asset in a specific area and keep it, we would just, if they owe more than the property's worth, we just make the opening bid the payoff amount. And it's not going to sell. So we're not going to overpay at the auction most of the time. They do. Hey, kudos, congratulations, you own this asset. It's not worth that, but thank you for the payoff. Okay. If it's not sold, then you take the property back and then fix it up, keep it, clean it, whatever you want to do. Okay. The foreclosure is basically going to clean the title. Now, it may not clean out all the water liens and water bills. Those will sometimes follow. If there's back taxes owed, guess what? You got to pay the back taxes to clean up that title. If it's a tax sale, that can wipe out your note. You got to be careful about that. So that's why we often will pay taxes off at the auction or before. If taxes are outstanding and it sells at the auction for 90 and there's $5,000 back taxes owed, that the tax bill is going to get paid there at the auction. Okay. If you take back the asset, make sure you do yourself a favor and place a lien on the property for the funding investor. It also is there to protect your asset. It's because there are people out there who are unscrupulously targeting foreclosure auctions and slapping fake liens on properties with the hope that you're going to pay off that lien instead of waiting another 90 days to clean it off. So you got to be careful. That's why putting a lien on a property will protect the equity, especially if you got a ton of equity assets. Make sure you have your attorney slap on a friendly lien to protect your equity. It's one of the most important things. Now, 10 goes back to really number 2. If you get the bar back on track and they're paying for 6 to 12 months, guess what? That's now reclassified as a performing note or reperforming. You can sell that reperforming note out for cash flow. And so there's a lot of people out there looking for performing notes or reperforming notes. If you got 6 to 12 months of on-time payments on a regular basis with a third-party servicer and you approve that stuff, you can sell that at 80, 90 cents on the dollar of UPB or payoff, depending on that, okay? Don't service these loans yourself. It reduces your value because you have no clean way to basically track payments in a lot of cases. Use a third-party servicer. Now, you can only sell off if the borrower is making principal and interest payments plus extra. You're going to sell this off the basic P&I payment, not the modified payment, okay, or the extra they were paying. And you're only going to sell it off the UPB, not usually off of legal for the most part. It just doesn't work that way. I know some people try to do that, and it just doesn't do that, okay? A borrower may still be behind, but if they paid 6 to 12 months behind, guess what? They're reperforming. They're paying off that back payment, but that consistency of payments works in your favor, okay? Number 11, some people get scared of bankruptcy. If you're a traditional real estate investor, you don't like bankruptcy deals because you're not getting the actual property. But with us, bankruptcy works in our favor, okay? It's either going to be a Chapter 13, which is going to be a 60-month payment plan. You can look at or restructuring them out, paying off the back payments. If you see that it's a BK loan, you can always check by going to pacer.gov and looking for the BK report on that one. You need a bankruptcy attorney or servicer can help you with that to collect on your behalf. It's basically a 5-year payment stream. You also have the right to approve the payment or not approve the payment if it's a bad payment plan. Like if their payment's $800 a month, they come back, well, we can only afford $50 a month. Yeah, no, that doesn't make any sense. Let's just go ahead and have you deed the property back to us, okay? But BK loans that are paying are highly sought after by a lot of funds because it's a payment stream. They like that, okay? You can also have them discharge the mortgage if the payment plan fails, or if they're paying the mortgage on time, they're filing bankruptcy for medical bills or credit cards, something like that. You can always have them remove the mortgage from the bankruptcy filing and just keep paying on time, okay? If you started the foreclosure process, a BK will stop it. And if you go through BK Chapter 13, great, they're making payments. If they stop paying, guess what? You can have that kicked out of bankruptcy, and then you restart or finish the foreclosure. You don't have to start all over again. Okay. BK Chapter 7 is basically a liquidation of the debt. And basically they're deeding the property over to you, or you're basically foreclosing. It's becoming an REO. It's not, some people think they can keep the house. That's not the way it works. Okay. Dealing with foreclosure, if the borrower does not comply, we go from there. Okay. Questions, comments, concerns about the different exit strategies, different ways we're making money when it comes to what the hell do I do with this note when I bought something? All right, let's move on. All right, let's see. I'm just making sure everything's going well on the live stream real fast. Oops. Yeah, okay, good. Now, one of the things that overwhelms people a lot of times, and I think I mentioned this earlier on, is when you are marketing to banks and asset managers, whether it's LinkedIn or email, or somebody calls you up with a list, you're going to get a spreadsheet. We call that a tape, okay? That can be overwhelming. And it may be 100 notes, it may be 500, it might be 5, whatever, okay? There are some things you have to look at to realize to determine if it's a deal or a dud. Now, here's the number one thing. Not every asset on there is a deal. I've seen realtors have breakdowns and spend all this time trying to target everything on that list. Everything on that list is not a deal. The pricing doesn't make sense, or what the payments are don't make sense, or where it's located, or the condition. A lot of duds. You make your money by finding the deals, depending on where you're at and what you're looking for your own portfolio. Well, there are some things you need to keep in mind to consider that can help you sway one way or another in a lot of cases. Okay. So the things to consider before buying. One of the things when you're making offers is, especially if you're making some offers and you're doing your initial due diligence, look at the servicing notes. Is the borrower been responsive and calling in, or has it been the bank calling, or has the seller told the bank to pound sand or go F off? If that's the case, you see, if they're friendly, great. If they're not friendly, guess what? You're going to probably have to foreclose. Look at the payment history. What caused the borrower to miss payments or get back on track, or they made a lump sum payment? What's the story behind the story? Obviously, market values are changing in the market right now. They're going up, they're going down. The same thing with days on market. Stick to stuff that's got 120 days on market or less. I know that's changing now in the last year, but just because the property is worth $500,000 doesn't mean it's worth that if it takes 100 days, 180 days to sell. What's your 30-day sale price? That's what you have to keep in mind. Okay. Are there any repairs needed? There's always going to be some repairs needed, but is it heavier than not? And you got to realize too, you're not always going to interior condition or interior inspections on an occupied asset. You're not going to get that on a vacant asset a lot of times. That's why we like occupied assets, because usually less repairs are needed because somebody's limited to taking care of the property. Look at the foreclosure timeframes of that state. How far along have they started? Have they begun it, or are they near the end of it? Okay. Look at the neighborhood variables. Is it a good neighborhood, a bad neighborhood, way the heck out of town? Is there crime? Look at zoning violations of that property. Is the grass too tall? Is there a structure next to it or on it that needs to be fixed or taken away? You know, city government issues, are they friendly to making things happen? Or is it like Chicago, where it takes forever to foreclose, or they're just corrupt? Obviously, crime map. Look at the size and population of the cities. Obviously, exterior conditioning asset makes a lot of sense. Is there a blue tarp on top of the roof? Is the lawn mowed, or is it like Jumanji in the backyards? Rural location, we talked about this. How far outside of town is it, and what's it on? And that also depends on if you're comfortable with something that's on land. Some people can be, some others aren't. Like I'll give you an example. We've got a town east of here in Austin, or east of Austin here, called Smithville. Okay, I wouldn't mind owning Smithville. It's a bit of a smaller town, but if I can find something out there in a couple acres, heck, that would be great. You'd be a little ranchita. All right, I wouldn't mind living there. I can get internet there. That's something I would look at. So I'm comfortable with that, but are you comfortable with that? And one of the most important thing, I think, is look at local colleges. Is there a local college in that city? If there is, that works in your favor. If there's not a local college or something, then you may not want to do it, because if worst case you take as rental, I like to put students in there. You can get a higher rent rate if it's close to university. Okay. Especially like an example, like South Bend, Indiana. South Bend, Indiana is home of Notre Dame, right? Touchdown Jesus over there. Well, if you can buy something within like a mile of the university, that becomes an ideal rental for the students there, not only at Notre Dame, but St. Mary's College, which is right across the way. Or if it's a decent spot, maybe you could turn it into an Airbnb or a weekend rental for home games, home basketball, home football games, which can increase your profits. Okay. Just got to be careful what's going on and what's going on. Make sure there's not too much of that, gluttony of the market. Does your asset meet your strategy was the most important thing. Is it going to provide cash flow when it becomes pre-performing, or is it providing enough cash flow as a performing asset? If I have to foreclose, am I going to get a big enough check by doing a deed in lieu or cash for keys, or if we sell it as an REO? If I have other assets in the area, is it going to be a good addition to my rental portfolio? Or if I own or finance it, will it make sense? Hold it for a while, we don't have to do any work. You want to avoid weird assets and unfinished projects. Okay. I get people, oh, can you finish this project? I don't want an unfinished project. I don't want a shell. It doesn't make sense to do. I don't want some weird ass looking house. I want something that's cookie cutter, steak and potatoes kind of basic. Okay. But does the asset have 3 profitable strategies? Okay. First one, get reperforming cash flow. Does it make sense for you to be profitable on that, where it's paying your investor a good return plus paying you at least equal to what you're paying your investor? 2, we deed lieu, Well, that makes sense to do that. If we can do that and get it up and move to 6 months. Well, it makes sense we have to foreclose on this asset. Okay. And it takes us a year to foreclose and fix it up and then sell it. Those are the three most important things. Other things you do after you take the asset back, that's on you. I will not instruct you what you need to do. Okay. All right. Deed, rental, or new. I don't like owner financing properties we've taken back. It ties up the equity, types of the asset. You might as well sell it and get your cash in. As provided a year, it might make sense for you to do that. Is turn it into a rental where you're holding on the asset for a year. And it all depends on what your existing portfolio is there. So you're not seeing a short-term capital gains. And then you can also, depending on what your portfolio is, you've got that cost segregation and write-offs that you have with real estate. So you're going to end up owning real estate as a note investor. It's just the truth of the thing being, okay? Always look as the legal started. Ask to speak to the attorney. Some won't let you speak to the attorney. And then I'm like, well, if you're not letting me speak to the attorney, or the attorney's not going to advise me where they're at in the process or what's going on, I'm moving on, okay? The lender can let you speak to the attorney. I had somebody balk at me the other day. I'm like, no, I have the right to do that. You need to tell me where it's at. I'm not going to say here, you tell me one thing, trust but verify, okay? Look at the servicing notes and the collateral file for hardship letters, background of the borrower. I mean, that will tell you what the borrower wants to do more than anything else. If they send in a hardship letter and they want to try to stay in the property, they'll often outline what they can afford. And that's a slam dunk to getting things, okay? Check the bankruptcy. May have already filed. There may already be money sitting at the trustee waiting to be paid to the servicer on your behalf. Look also at the statute of limitations. This is a deal we were looking at with one of my students yesterday or the day before. He was looking at buying a note in Maine. Borrower hadn't made a mortgage payment in 10 years. Well, Maine has a statute of limitations, which is 6 years, which that means you can only go after the most recent 6 years of payments. Can't go for the full 10 years. So the lender was showing us this huge payoff, which is 10 years of back payments. Well, that's not accurate. The true payoff is a whole lot less, a third less. So difference in the bidding. Some states offer a safe harbor filing, like a Florida, Colorado, Nevada, 3 states that offer safe harbor. Whereas what that means is basically, if people aren't paying their mortgage, they're often probably not paying their condo association HOA fees. So some of these organizations have these huge fees they get on top of the mortgage. Well, safe harbor basically means if you're buying the note and then foreclosing, you only have to pay either 1 year of the HOA fees or 1% of the sales price. It's a little bit different. Like Colorado might be 6 months. Nevada is a little bit different because the HOA has the right to foreclose and wipe out the first lien. It's weird in Nevada, but you got to know safe harbor for those states. Florida's been great. I'm not worried about the HOA fees because we'll buy the first lien, foreclose, and we're only paying 1%. Sometimes we'll pay a little bit more to the HOA to expedite it and to drag it out in some cases, especially if the borrower is willing to do a deed or consent to judgment. All right. But those are some of the things to keep in mind to look at when you're looking at assets. And you're going to miss some of those things. Okay. This is why it's important to have a coach or somebody to reach out to that can help answer those questions for you. And that's what we're here for, especially with our WCN membership or those that are going through our one-on-one coaching. Okay. Moving on. All right. What's important, and I talked about deals or duds first before more of the note due diligence, because I want you to keep those things in mind. A lot of things we're going to go through in the note due diligence side here are going to make sense. It's the things that is it a deal or dud? Just because you look at a spreadsheet, we often will get bogged down in looking at numbers, or we start looking at property pictures and you'll get lost. Focus on the numbers, focus on the spreadsheet, make sure those numbers make sense first for you before you start diving in and looking at how pretty the asset is, or you get fall in love with location. Due diligence, you've got the borrower, the property, and the collateral file. You got 3 things you're doing due diligence on. Okay. We did a longer due diligence video, so I encourage you to go watch it. bit.ly/note due diligence. It does a deeper dive on the due diligence process. Okay. We've also did a due diligence masterclass for you that you can spend a whole day where we go through start to finish everything we did, looked at the collateral file, everything we pulled on a particular asset that was a little bit tricky that I think you'll enjoy. That's in our WCN membership, gets access to that. Okay. The borrower due diligence. You're going to look at the servicing notes. We talked about that, see how responsible they are, if there's any right party contact, or they've been a pain in the ass and causing trouble. You're going to look at the previous loan documents, their loan application, the financial documents they submitted. What do they have as far as other real estate, 401ks, retirement accounts? You can jump on pacer.gov if they filed bankruptcy to look at that. We're going to do a little bit of skip tracing by going to whitepages.com or Spokio to make sure we've got a current phone number or address for the borrower or the borrower's family. We're going to look at social media. Yes, we're going to do some social sleuthing on Facebook, LinkedIn to see if they have a profile on there, see if they're posting. Sometimes we found they shared way too much information on Facebook that we're able to make a decision on whether to keep them in that house or foreclose or modify it in some sort of fashion. We're also looking for neighbors and family members. We also use whitepages.com, especially for buying commercial asset, to find phone numbers for like multifamily or RV parks, stuff like that. And that's worked well for us, getting a little due diligence on the actual property by talking to some of the tenants. By like, hey, we're trying to track down the property manager. How do you like living there? And then they go on and on. We don't tell them we're buying the note, but we did to say try to track down the property manager, and that's a great way to do it. Okay. And then also we look at their loan application for past or present employees. This came in really handy during COVID. People say they weren't working, they were laid off. Well, we call the employer and find out they're not laid off. They're still working. Okay. So that changes the things up a little bit. Okay. The property, obviously, this is kind of you're going to look at values, online value versus in person. As is value versus your 30-day quick sale price is always important. You're going to talk with realtors to pull a CMA, or you're going to order a BPO. If you're happy with the value of the property online because it's a current value, current photos, then all we might do would order just a drive-by, an exterior inspection to get a quick number, see what it looks like. Look at the market conditions, days on market. Obviously, the market's changed in the last year with interest rates going up. But always, always, always put eyes on the asset before funding. Make sure you take a picture of the street address. So important. We've had realtors go out and take quick photos of good-looking properties because they didn't pay attention to the street number, and the actual note was actually the shanty next to it. Okay. Look at recent nearby sales and comps. You can't trust Zillow for this. Zillow's only going to show recent comps. You're not going to see if it's distressed or rehab stuff. So you got to be careful about your online values. Like I said, we like to order a BPO. You can get a CMA if you got another local realtor. You can also use an AVM model by using like narrpr.com. Look at your taxes. What's owed on the taxes? Call the county. Ask them. Hey, we see there's only $1,000. Is that all it's owed? Is there a upcoming tax sale anytime soon? Talk to the code enforcement company. Hey, what would we need to do to get the code enforcement liens removed or reduced? Okay. Neighborhood activity is a good spot. Has there been a previous MLS listing in the last year or two? That tells you if the seller was trying to sell it, or if they were trying to rent the property out. We found interior photos from those that have that worked out really, especially short sales. If it's listed for a short sale, you can often get interior inspection or have somebody go look at the interior, and that gives you a lot of great due diligence on it. Look at their rent rates in case you end up taking it back, or look at what's going on. HOA or COA elimination. This is very important. Sometimes, like down in Florida, there's some great places, but you maybe need to be 55 plus to live in the area. Or if you're taking a condo back in some areas, they won't let you rent it out. You've got to turn around and only owner occupants can live there. Or some places that are off of golf courses, you got to pay a $15,000 to $50,000 membership fee to be a part of that apartment complex. I mean, a part of that community. Okay. Are there any special assessments that the HOA is starting to charge to update the grounds or update the elevators, the exterior conditions, stuff like that? Okay. And of course, the crime map. Sometimes it makes sense to pick up and call the substations and find out condition report of what's going on in an area, zip code area. Talk to a cop. Is this a good area? Is it a bad area? Is it a rough area? What's going on with that? More about the property. Here's the thing. Most of the time, you're not going to get interior access to the property. So you're not going to be able to order inspection. Okay. Now, if it's listed for sale, then you get inside. You're still not going to order an inspection report. You're buying the note, not the property. Okay. This is important. This is why you still need to put eyes on it, because if the lawn's mowed, power's on, this is why we like to call the utility departments to see what's going on. You can use your Zillow values for upfront due diligence, but once your offer is accepted and then you're in the official due diligence period, then you pay for title insurance, or not title insurance, a title report, and then a broker price opinion to pay for that. Okay. You can use the narrpr.com if you get a realtor and they're NAR licensed, or still the NAR. This is a free service for realtors. Call the utility department. Is you get power on, power off. I represent the bank. You have a vested interest in the property. They're going to give you more information if you're just calling to talk about the property. Okay. If you find that the bid comes back below value, there's more taxes that weren't showing, condition report, you can always fade your bid or cancel your bid if stuff comes back. But always, always, always have somebody put eyes on the asset. Okay. Now, when it comes to collateral due diligence, you want to look at the original loan docs or the mortgage. You're not going to get this sent to you on the front end. This comes after you close, but you get scanned copies, PDF copies of this. And here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen, never fund until you've looked at the collateral file. If somebody tells you they'll send you the collateral file after you fund, screw that. Don't deal with that. In the collateral file, you need to make sure that there's a chain of assignment. So like when a property sells, there's a deed transfer, right? When a mortgage sells, there's an assignment transfer. There's an assignment of mortgage. So make sure that every time that mortgage has been sold, there's an assignment that goes with it that's been recorded. If it's not recorded, make sure it's in the file folder, okay? And along with assignments is what's a one-page allonge that shows a transfer as well. That doesn't need to be notarized, but the assignment of mortgage does need to be notarized. I won't fund until all the assignments are there. I will fund if I'm missing a allonge. It's not that big a deal. Look at the deed of trust. Look at previous appraisals if you can find that. Look at the previous borrower's loan application, see what they filled out, what their credit score does, what they were doing, anything else they might own, and go after them. Like I said, you're going to get a soft copy, which is PDF copies, electronic copies of the collateral file. Take a look at it. You'll get the hard physical collateral files 30 to 45 days after you close. If they don't send it to you, you need to bark up the tree and say, hey, I need to send this. I had one seller we bought a portfolio from 45 days came. I still have collateral files. They wanted me to fund another portfolio. It's like, no, I don't even have the collateral from these other first ones. I'm not going to fund until I get collateral. Lo and behold, a week later, all the collateral showed up. I was like, okay, now I'll fund. All right. But you're doing this, and I know we kind of rushed to that. You're going to learn more from working through your first couple of deals than you will with anything else. Okay. The idea here is to learn the majority of it. And like I said, this is the Cliff Notes version of our 3-day class. Is that there's things you have property, the borrower, and the collateral. Those are the 3 things you're doing due diligence on. Okay. Good stuff. All right. As I said before, and I mentioned this throughout, there's a couple of things. You're not in this business by yourself. Now, I know a lot of people, when you get into real estate investing, you feel like you're the guy or the gal that has to do it all. I'm going to go find the property. I'm going to rehab it. I'm going to do all the work myself. And I get so many investors come over like, I want to buy notes and I want to have the conversations with the borrowers because you're used to dealing with distressed property owners. Negative, ghostwriter, not going to happen. The pattern is full, okay? You're going to use your vendors to do most of the work, especially when it's out of state and away from you. You don't want to be rehabbing properties, okay? You're also, if you're working full-time job, you don't want to wait till you get home at night to try to reach the borrower. You want to be having your vendors and your team of vendors doing the work for you so things are getting rock and roll. You do not want to be the bottleneck in your note business, okay? Your trusted team is going to include quite a few people, a servicing company, and your servicing company is going to give you an asset manager, an assigned person to talk to regarding your portfolio. Now, don't call them every day, bothering them. But you should talk to them at least once a month about your asset and what's going on and what's proceeding, okay? Now, here's the thing. All servicing companies suck ass in some sort of fashion. Some are really good and some are horrible. And you get what you pay for in a lot of cases. There's a few that I would recommend and a few that I wouldn't recommend. There's a few that I'll buy assets from knowing that if they got servicing with one company, that servicing company sucks. I know that, okay, perfect, okay? You can use Madison Management, you can use Covey Financial, Allied Servicing. There's a few that we would recommend that will work with one-off investors to get started. And those are your things, okay? Essence Servicing will have notes for sale. They're probably the most expensive when it comes to servicing. And so you got to be careful there. They can box some stuff up for you. You're going to use a title company to either pull O&E reports. But you got to remember, you're not going to usually close with a title company, because the title insurance from when the note was created is still in place, okay? Still in place from when it was original. That's why we like institutional loans, institutional created stuff, not owner finance stuff, because sometimes owner finance stuff doesn't have any title insurance on it. So we use a vendor to pull O&E, ownership and encumbrance reports, just like your title reports. Okay, so you're gonna have a company, a vendor you use for that. Baldwin Advisory Group has a great agreement with a company that allows us to get one-offs, O&E, one-off BPOs, and go from there. You can also use Pro Title USA. They're okay, but I prefer Baldwin Advisory Group. Your other team, somebody to pull BPOs and valuation. Baldwin Advisory Group is great, who we use for pull a broker price opinion. They can also order a drive-by once a quarter. It's like $40 just a drive-by, take a couple photos, make sure the property's there in good condition. You're buying an area that's been hit hard, like with a hurricane or flooding. That's good to know, because it's a pretty cheap thing to send somebody out versus your happy ass jumping on a plane. Okay. Foreclosure attorneys, you need to have a foreclosure attorney in every state. That's important. If you don't have one, your servicer can provide one, or you can use third-party referrals from other note investors. Okay. But they usually have their own list. If their attorney is not on it, then it's pretty easy to add them to the list. Okay. Otherwise, you can jump on like legalleague100.com to find attorneys in states that handle specific things, especially foreclosures, and work well with note investors. But I like referrals, or who my servicing companies are currently using. There are third-party special servicing companies. These are more like aggressive workout companies. There's a few out there. They usually want you to have a chunk of notes to work on, not just one note here to work out, but they're going to be much more aggressive. Usually you're going to sign like a 90-day contract with them to kind of do the bar outreach and go there. Senior Law Group was one company we've used in the past. There's a few others. Coast Angels, another company out of the West Coast. They come and go. It just varies a little bit, but it's basically you're hiring in like SEALs Team 6 to go in and really work with the ball, in a lot of cases, be aggressive. Okay. Whoops. What did I do? Oh, I clicked on the video link. We did opposite. There we go. Episode 172. That popped up. Wow. Of the Note Closure Show, talks about special servicing. There you go. Let's go back. That link works. Okay, good. All right, your trusted team's also going to include, probably at first, you're probably going to store your collateral files at your house. Make sure it's in a safe of some sort, so your kids can't get excited about turning it into paper. Your dog doesn't chew it up. Your cat doesn't decide to use your file as a litter box. All right. There are companies that will store that for you. Some servicing companies will store it for you, the flat fee per year. Others will store it like a monthly basis to review your collateral file and store the files. You can use Joel Markovitz as a company we use to do collateral file reviews. CSC out of Dallas, usually once you have 100. Richmond Monroe is probably the best one. They're out of West Branson, Missouri. Casey Wilson and Company out of California. They'll do a collateral review and tell you what's missing. You can also help you fix that stuff. Realtors, you're going to use realtors. Don't try to pull values and sell the property yourself. Use a realtor. So helpful in pulling accurate comps, giving you an idea of the condition of the property, where it's located. Okay, they can tell you, hey, this is a great area, or hey, it's a rough area. Can't find somebody, you don't know somebody, use realtor.com, activebrain.com to find that. And of course, Baldwin Advisory Group has a realtor network, a realtor referral network to find agents across the country as well for you. Okay. You're going to need forced place insurance. And so property insurance companies are a great rate. Ross Diversified Insurance out of Orange County, National REI Group out of Kansas City. You also have property preservation companies. There are companies that go in and winterize a property. I would rely on your realtors. They usually will have somebody that can go do that for you. Of course, Baldwin Advisory Group, you've heard their name talked about a lot so far. They also have a list of people. So Baldwin Advisory is kind of our one-stop shop when it comes to our vendors and finding people and stuff like that. Dickie Baldwin, who's the founder of Baldwin Advisory, he's got over 40 years, 40 plus years, 43, 44 in the note, mortgage, investing side of things. We helped them launch Baldwin Advisory Group 6 years ago during one of our mastermind, and just does a really great job. And so you can always go to baldwinadvisorygroup.com, Dickie's phone number and email, reach up on there. Pretty easy to order an O&E and a BPO, or just pick up the phone, give him a phone call. He's great to talk to. And you've also can watch the webinar we did with Dickie a little while back by going to that link in the slides here for you. Okay. Questions about vendors, trusted team before we move on here? We're getting close to wrapping this up for the day, guys. So just so you know, if you have questions, now would be a good time to start putting that in the chat roll for me. Okay. So our next session here, guys, session 14, what comes next? Now, what comes next? This has been, I hope you've enjoyed spending your Saturday or Sunday if you're watching the replay by me going through and sharing this with you about the kind of the basics, how to find, fund, and flip, and kind of what goes into it. Yes, you're not going to learn everything about note investing, and this class should not be your only education when it comes to note investing. Now, what are you going to use? You're going to probably use YouTube to find some stuff. You're also going to probably use podcasts. That's great to piecemeal it together. But if you really want to take your business to 0 to 60 fast in 60 days versus 6 months or 6 years, trying to do it all yourself, and I get some of you guys out there where you're tight in funds, and this is all that fits in your budget right now. I get it. That's why we have our WeCloseNotes.tv, our number one YouTube channel. It's why we provide this one-day class for you. It's also why we have the number one podcast with a note closer show for you. Lots of information for you to learn. The idea here, ladies and gentlemen, is you got to learn and go for it. And that's why we have our 3-day workshop upcoming. NoteBuyingForDummies.com. We teach us about 4 times a year, 2 times in person, 2 times via Zoom. We held one in December online and via Zoom, 3 days. Great information. We cover a lot of the same information, but some people like being in person, networking with other investors. That's great. Totally fine with that. Okay. Thanks. Thanks. I appreciate that there, Jim. He says, how do you spell fire hose? Great stuff. Awesome. Thank you so much for saying that. Here to give you a lot of information. You know that we never slough on the info and the content for you. But our note buying workshop, we call it Note Buying for Dummies, and that's where you can register at notebuyingfordummies.com. We've been teaching this in some sort of fashion, and it has changed over this. So we started doing this 14 years ago. Started teaching note buying in 2010. First class was 18 people, right? And that's changed from in-person classes. We did them as small as 3 all the way up to as big as 150, okay? Doing a lot online. We were doing online virtual classes for years. We've gotten back to the point, hey, let's do an in-person workshop because I know people are like, I'm tired of being on Zoom. I want to get out and network with some people. And that's what we're doing this for. So we have the next class upcoming March 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. That's a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It's here in Austin, Texas. It's limited to 50 people, okay? We cap it at 50. We're not doing the big ones. We like the small, intimate event where I can talk with everybody. We can have a good time. We can network. One we did in August last year was great. We had 45 people RSVP. We ended up having like 30 people that showed up. Some people got canceled and that stuff happens. That's fine. But it was great. Everybody hanging around, networking, happy hour. Most of us went out to dinner, grabbed Barbie together and visiting. Got a chance to really dive deep into what your focus is. And you're with me basically from 9 to 5 in the class, Friday, Saturday. Sunday, we go 9 to 3, 9 to 4, so you guys can head out there for you. But we spend a little time with you after hours. Get a chance to know, get a chance to pick my brain, get a chance to hear and see what you're doing. And then I can recommend things as I know things work well for you. Okay. But like I said, March 1st, 2nd, 3rd, it's normally $9.97. And we've got a special discount for you guys. And here's some of the bonuses. We'll give you you sign up today. We'll give you the replays to the December workshop. That's usually $2.99 value separately. That's 3 days of videos. You can start learning now, not having to wait till March and come to March much more prepared with better questions. Okay. We also give you a 4-week implementation coaching, group coaching. We've been doing that. We're through week 3 of that with the folks that took in December. Week 4 is this Thursday. You can get the replays of that. That's $5.99 value. That's a lot of good stuff going through what you need to implement. Laughlin Associates is giving us a secret entity secrets class that you get as well. That's $99 value. We'll give you the wholesaling and calling banks workshop master classes we did last year as well for you. Replay, that's $199 each. We'll give you our 20 by 20 how to find and fund video training. That's a $5.99 value. People really love that because we go in depth each day for 20 days and one way to find deals and one way to fund deals. Okay. We'll give you a VIP ticket. That's a $3.99 value to our mid-year Note Camp convention that we host with 30 to 40 different speakers over 3 to 4 days of live calls, live Zoom calls with them, not pre-recorded. And we get the replays after that as well. You also, special thing, we don't usually do this, but we'll allow you to bring a spouse or business partner along as well at no additional price. It's normally a $9.97 value. And then we'll also, what we like to do is bring in a portfolio of notes from our tapes that we get in and give you a chance to bid on those assets. We'll dive into the due diligence on that on the day 1, day 2, day 3, a little bit each day. that you guys, after the event, you guys can actually make offers on. And it was one of the great things people liked during our 3-day class. We actually pulled out case studies and worked through case studies of actual deals we've closed or we're in the process of closing with you guys. We went through the numbers and allowed for you to really see, okay, what does this make sense? And ask questions about this deal and work through those deals. So that's literally over $2,500, over $3,000 in bonuses. That's all included in the cost of the class. If you go to notebuyingfordummies.com, you will not, trust me, if you come to class, at the end of the day, like, Scott, this was the worst thing, I don't think it's for me, I will refund your money back, no questions asked. Oh, let's not forget that you get a 200+ page manual with contracts, forms, everything along with that as well. Like I said, normally it's $9.97 per person. If you sign up today, we'll give you 50% off plus the extra spouse or partner. You just have to go to notebuyingfordummies.com, click on the sign up page, fill out for information. Top right code, you'll see a discount code. Put in there, type in weekend. It'll show $9.97 otherwise, but if you put in weekend, all caps, and apply, it should drop it down to the $498.50 price for you. And we'll be on the north side of Austin here. If you'd want to fly in Thursday afternoon and Thursday evening, you can fly out Sunday night or Monday morning. One of the great things we did the class last time is we wrapped up about 3 o'clock. Those who hung around, we went to a Mexican dinner and had some margaritas and got a chance to visit the folks and stuff like that too for you. So we'll have some more one-on-one coaching students at it. We're already, since we're already, I think we got 15 to 20 people already signed up for this. Okay, so you definitely don't dilly-dally on this. Get signed up. Notebuyingfordummies.com. We've had one of the things that people have asked, do you comp in military or past military? We comp those guys and those gals into our virtual workshop. Unfortunately, we've got some hard costs with printing and rental space, stuff like that. We just can't comp people into the 3-day workshop, but we can give you access to replays to the December workshop at no cost for you guys. You still got to sign up for it, and we'll give you a discount code to be able to access those at no additional cost for you. Okay. But once again, that's noteweekend.com. It's $498 now. If that's still a bit of a stretch for you, that's fine, no problem. We got some opportunities for you to learn note investing in and spread out your learning costs over time. That's our WCN membership. That's our monthly $97 a month membership. It's the best bang for the buck in the industry. It includes a ticket to the virtual workshop, not the in-person workshop. There is a little bit more of a cost. There's a $250 per person fee for WCN memberships. That's still cheaper than the $498, but you get access to the replays from December. A ticket to the note camp. You get a ticket to all of our note weekend trainings we host on a monthly basis. All our past replays of our calling banks masterclass, our wholesaling class, our raising capital. There's another one. Due diligence class. All that's included in there. Weekly coaching calls with yours truly on Mondays. Plus, you can schedule a call with me anytime you need on the phone. We can jump on and talk about a deal or two you're working on. Plus, your special vendor discounts, special discounts at other events that we offer our WCN folks to other events throughout the country. And that's $97 a month. We do require you to be signed up for that for 6 months. You can't sign up for that 1 month, access everything, and cancel. It just doesn't work that way. If that's the case, we'll charge you your card the rest of the month. But $97 a month is spread to design your costs out over a year. If you want to sign up for that and pay for a year in advance, we actually do give you a 2-month discount. You can sign up for that $970, get a full year of access to the WCN crew. If you want to do that, let me know. I'll shoot you a custom link for that as well. But that's good. If you're going to sign up for it on a month-to-month basis, go to noteumbrella.com. Noteumbrella.com. That's good. And yes, if you've got a business partner, it includes them getting access to that as well too for you. So 2 for 1 for your spouse or business partner. And we use a Basecamp group as our message board, our portal to share files, share deals, get tapes in, we provide those to our WCN members, samples of case studies, samples of postcards, letters, all that stuff is included for you as part of our membership. Okay. So that's really the bang for the buck. And yes, it actually does make sense for you to sign up for the WCN membership, pay the extra $250 and come to Austin. It saves you some money. We're here to help you succeed. But if you don't want to sign up for the month, then just sign up for the 3-day workshop. Trust me, the value's there. And like I said, if you show to Austin, like at the end of day one, like this hasn't been the most amazing class on notes and how I truly show you how to find deals and will provide you with ways to build a huge list and make things happen. I'll refund your money back, no questions asked, and you can go on your merry way. All right. Also, there's some things to think about too. If you like notes, you've been around for a while, maybe you should think about our fast track success plan. We go from 0 to success fast. That's our one-on-one note coaching program. This is a year-long program, guys. And this is literally having me in your corner, kicking ass and taking names and helping you get deals done. Okay. Now, what's involved with our note coaching program? We basically, it's a couple things. We start off with 8 weeks of coaching calls, one-on-one coaching, live coaching calls, yours truly, because everybody's a little bit different. You can't do pre-recorded for everybody because not everybody's going to understand. So there's some hand-holding along in these 8 weeks of coaching calls. We'll do it at a time of the week that works best for your schedule and for my schedule. We go through that 8 weeks. Then we have you come in and spend time with me for 2 days. Yes, 2 days, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday with yours truly here in Austin. You fly in, we give you the VIP red carpet treatment. All right, we're going to give you our access to our top 12 hedge fund managers from deals that are sending lists out on a regular basis. We're going to do a 6-month follow-up call after the 2 days. If you need, it's a 1-day Zoom day. Where are you at? What are you focused on? People still call me on like a 30-minute phone call basis after the 2 days. Like, hey, I need some help with this or tweak that. And that's totally fine. Our coaching students are our family. Okay. But we're going to work with you until you make your money back. We're going to work with you until you close on your first deal at least. Some people have closed on 12 deals in their first 8 weeks. Like we had John and Veronica Gore. They're coming out next month for their 2-day. They've already closed on 12 notes. All right. Taylor Richards already closed on 6 or 7 notes. Okay. Some people are already raising capital. Keith Holland closed on 4 notes. Cal Yoon closed on 5 notes before he got here. I think he already closed on another 5 more based on what he told me last night. Larry Hoffman had closed on his first note, and he went on closing on over 100 in his first year. We want to help you, and that's why we're so proud of this. We also give you a list of our asset manager contacts through LinkedIn, email. That's a $1 million database here for you. Now, the cost for coaching is a little bit of investment. It's not free. It's not $9.97. I'll tell you that, but it's worth it. And we can structure that in a couple different ways to make it affordable for you. It's a investment tuition for our one-on-one coaching is $25,000. It's good for you plus a partner. Or if you got a third person, there's an additional fee for that because we got to deal with personalities. That's good for you plus a partner. All right. If you want to pay in full, we'll give you a $5,000 discount. Not $5,000 off, so just 20 if you want to pay in full or pay in 30 days. Okay. If you can't pay in 30 days, you can't pay the full thing, that's fine. We can set up monthly payment plans for you where you put a chunk down. We'll finance it for you for a period of time. We also have a third-party financing solution too for you. But it's a full year of coaching, helping you take your business to the next level. Like I said, I will work with you as long as you want me to make your money back. I will stand behind it. I don't know anybody else's. No, you're not coaching from some hourly employee, some guy on the phone that you never see or gal on the phone. You're working with me. Now, I don't do a lot of these per year. Okay. I really kind of limit myself to 20 students a year. That's what we want to be. That's what I'm comfortable with. Where I can have 2 or 3 phone calls where we're still looking at deals and making things happen on our own. All right. But we have a 95% success rate with our coaching students. We've got a few folks that came in and they disappeared. We scared them off. Don't know what happened to them. We've got a few folks that came in, bought notes, and then just disappeared. But we work with people. We've got folks like Catherine Bell, who's made over 150 to 200 grand in notes since she's been around for 2 years. Maurice Walters is making money. Derek Elder is making money in notes. Larry Hoffman's made over 6 figures. I could go on and on and on and on the folks that we have helped. And it's a great thing is I always laugh and chuckle when I see some of these different conferences that pop up and people that are speaking at these conferences. And I laugh at about half of them. So they're talking about anything to do with non-performing notes. It's probably pretty likely to have been our coaching student, like Jay Tenenbaum from Scottsdale Mortgage, the past coaching student, closed on a couple hundred notes. It started with us. Chris Savigny, Dan Deppen. There's a whole lot of folks out there in the non-performing space that we're very proud of who've done an amazing job in going out and close deals, and they learned from us and got coached by us because we show you the will and the way to make things happen for you. Like I said, if even doing that, there is a third option. If you guys are working at a job, you got a career, and you're working, worked there for at least 2 years, we've got a third-party financing option with Ease Financial, and they only approve a specific amount of educators in the industry who have a good success rate of working with students, and we're very proud of the fact that we're part of Ease. If you've got a 2-year work history and you got W-2s, you make 40K plus per year, and you've got a 620 FICO score or greater, you would probably qualify for our third-party finance. We're going to payments as low as like $500 a month or less, depending on what your score is. Okay. Now, the great thing about this is there's no prepayment penalty. So with people that apply for this, and you're going to get approved in literally just a couple of hours, and then you got to send in the form, stuff like that. But you can find out what you're approved for, and guess what? You can sit on a payment plan over 24 to 36 months. So they'll finance it longer than we will. We'll finance ours for like 12 months. The first payment is not due for 30 days. So you can literally start coaching and learning and making offers before you got to make your first payment into ease. And then we've had people that literally, we closed our first deal, we sold it, we flipped it, whatever, and they paid off their coaching within 6 months that way. So there's great options for you on that. If that's something you'd like to dive into, it's pretty easy. You just go to bit.ly/Scott's Coaching. You'll take the checkout. The cost for that, since it's financing and there's fees that we got to pay, that's still a full 25. But even if you don't qualify for the full 25, well, then maybe you qualify for 15, and that's the case. We would be willing to carry financing on the remaining 10 for you. So some different options for you, whether it's getting started, taking the class is a great spot. Sign up for our membership, or if you really want to take the deep dive, this is what you want to do, and you want to work with me one-on-one and have us really kick some ass and take some names with you and have me on a weekly basis with you, this is the spot to go. And bit.ly/Scott's Coaching. That's where you want to look at. That's where you want to be. And we really encourage you to take the opportunity. And like I said, if you have some questions, I'd like to talk more about this and see if it's a fit for you. It's not a fit always for folks. That's fine. At least let's talk. Go to talkwithscottcarson.com. Let's schedule a phone call. If you're ready to make that plunge, you're tired of dealing with toilet stands and trash outs, you're trying to find fix and flips, you're just not finding deals at all, we need to have a phone call. Talkwithscottcarson.com. That's talkwithscottcarson.com. Let's talk this week. I'm not a big high-pitched sales guy or high-pressure salesman. Look, I want to work with people that want to work with me. If you don't, that's fine. No problem. But if you really want to take your note business and close deals and make some money, we need to talk and help you. We can help you do that. So, are there any other questions, comments, concerns out there for you? Oh, I forgot. There is one other thing. If you're a seasoned investor already, you've bought a lot of real estate, you're pretty comfortable doing it, you might want to just do a note VIP day. VIP day, we've had a few folks take us up on this. They've got a hectic schedule. They can't do 8 weeks of calls. They understand it. They've bought real estate. They need help with like one or two facets. Then we could do a note VIP day. Now, the vote VIP day is you come in and spend a day in Austin, just one day with me, not 2 days. One day with me. There's we do an hour or two call before you come on. There's some things you probably need to do. We can schedule this anytime, Tuesday through Saturday. It's a full day focused on you and what you need to get done. It's great for those that are self-starters out there. It's not the 25K. You do have to take the virtual note buying workshop. That's a big requirement. Make sure you have the foundation in place so we're not spending the day answering questions that you should understand from the workshop. It's basically $997 per day for you. Okay, is what it is. Because you got to realize if we're charging $25K for it, it's well worth me coming and spend a day and pouring things into you and stuff like that. So that's right at $10K for that. If you want to do that, some folks have done that once, they book another one 6 months later. That works best for them. We give them stuff to rock and roll. We give them taste to make offers on. We help them with some funding. We help them with asset managers, stuff like that. But that's some of the things. If you're a self-starter and you don't need a lot of hand-holding, this might be a better route for you at just under $10K for you. And you can sign up for that by going to notevipday.com or reach out a call with me. And we don't mind splitting that payment up over 2, but you got to be paid in full before you come to Austin on that. So if you need to spread that up over 2 or 3 payments, we can do that for you and help you prep for that day and put it on the calendar. So a couple of things there for you. Like I said, 3-day class, monthly membership, one-on-one coaching, or just a VIP a day. There's some different options for you in different budget marks for you. So any other questions, comments, concerns, guys? For you, once again, get signed up for the 3-day workshop. If you've not been through that, notebuyingfordummies.com. Use the code WEEKEND to get it for free. But that's really probably the next spot that you guys all should go on your journey as a note investor. Let's take you, learn the nuts, the bolts, the foundation, what you really need to do. I've enjoyed teaching this 1-day class for you, noteweekend.com, guys. Yes, you can attend again this. We teach this basically every third Saturday of the month. And we're here to help you find success and achieve phenomenal growth and make some phenomenal income here in 2024 and beyond. Any other questions, comments, concerns before we let you go for the day? All right, everybody. Well, hey, thank you so much for those guys that hung around. Thank you, Newbie. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Warren. Thank you, Jim. Thank you, everybody who watched on the live stream. If you're watching the replay of this, feel free. Let's book a phone call. Talk with scottcarson.com. Pick a time that works for you, and let's jump on a quick phone call and see if we can't help you make some money and knock some things out. Take care, everybody. Enjoy your Saturday, your Sunday, or whenever you're watching this. Take care, everybody. Bye.